myself. Proverbs 6, Solomon, man with the greatest wisdom that God ever gave anybody, gave to Solomon. Solomon said this, go to the ant. Read it with me. Go to the ant, O sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief, officer, or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in the harvest. That's right. Solomon said, go to the ant for wisdom about your finances. Now, Solomon was an animal lover. He had a zoo. The Bible describes his zoo. He had all kind of animals, even down to monkeys Solomon had in his zoo. So he was an animal watcher. And it's very interesting how much we can actually learn what wisdom there is to glean in our lives just from looking at nature around us. There's some tremendous lessons. And Solomon said, you need to look down at the ground at the ant and learn how to manage your life. Now, what can I learn from the ant about my financial life? Solomon uses two words. He uses the word gather and he uses the word prepare. Ants know how to gather wisely. They know how to bring in the income. Then ants know how to prepare to expend their resources wisely. And I think that's such a tremendous lesson for us in the many, many years that I've been pastoring, the many, many years that I've been talking to people and financial problems come up. I find that these are two categories that their problems fall into. They either have an income problem or a spending problem. Now let's look first of all, we often have income problems. This is the problem with the gathering. Simply put, an income problem means you're not making enough money to live on. And dollars and cents is not going to make enough sense to you. It's not going to help you very much if you just don't have enough money to live on. Now, Solomon addresses a potential problem. I may be ticking some people off a little bit this morning, but I'm okay with that. If you're okay with it, I'm going to take a strong swing at a spirit that's upon us now that's invading our culture, and you see it all the time on the media. We're going to be taking a hard swing at that today and driving that away from Upward Christian Fellowship forever. Can we say amen today? All right, don't shoot the messenger today, but this is the message of the word. Solomon says this, go back to the verse, and I'm going to stay close to the Bible today. He says this, go to the ant, O sluggard. What does that mean? You think of a slug lying on the ground when you think of sluggard. Sluggard is one of Solomon's favorite words in Proverbs. He uses the Hebrew word for sluggard 14 different times. It is the only time in the Old Testament that this word sluggard is used, are the 14 times that Solomon uses this word. Go to the ant, he says, O sluggard. Solomon addresses a potential income problem in your life, and it just might be the problem of inactivity. I want you to hear me today. Income problems often come from inactivity. In other words, you're just not working very hard. Now, before you shoot me, this is not everybody. But I do want to throw this out for some. Some people have income problems today because they're lazy. There are many, many people in the nation today, apparently from what I see around me, that just don't want to work. Since the pandemic, there are actually more jobs today than there were pre-pandemic. And there are actually millions of less. There's actually 3.4 million people less in the workforce today in the United States of America, even with there being more jobs available. That's a problem. There are more jobs available, yet less workers who are willing to do the jobs. And I hear this all the time. I go to restaurants and they don't have their dining room open inside because they don't have help. I hear business owners all the time telling me, we're trying so hard to find good people. We're trying to find even not good people. We're just trying to find anybody to come do it. There are business owners out there, folks, that are just looking for warm bodies right now. Can I tell you something? If you want a job, you can get one. And if you don't have a good job or you don't have a job at all, we need to talk about that before we talk about how to manage your money. Now, there's a difference in being unable to work. If you're unable to work, you've been injured, you've been sick, and you're truly unable to work, I'm not trying to lay shame on you this morning. That's the last thing in the world I want to do, and the last thing in the world I want you to feel. But there's a difference between being unable to work and being unwilling to work. And if you have been unwilling to work, and that is the problem of your income, that is the problem that you need to look at and address today, is your unwillingness to get up, leave the house. Dave Ramsey puts it this way. He said, you got to leave the cave, kill something, and drag it home. That's right. Caveman. You got to get up. You got to get yourself ready. You got to go to work. You got to do something productive and get paid for it. And bring that money home and use it wisely. Can I get an amen? Amen. I need some amens this morning. Let me ask you this. Are you working? If the answer is no, that's one of your big problems. I met with a young man some years ago. It's probably 24 or 5 years ago. I was young in ministry, just started at the church. We weren't in this building. He came to me and his wife came and he said, I just don't feel like I'm doing a good job providing for my family. And she said, yeah, we're just not making enough money. We don't have enough money for food. We can't hardly pay the bills. We're behind. And he told me I feel like a failure. So I got to digging a little bit and asking questions a little bit to kind of find out what was going on. And here's what was going on. He was staying up all night playing video games and sleeping all day. Didn't take me long to figure out that problem. Now, there's nothing wrong if you work hard and you want to play video games sometime, that's fine. But you're not going to make much of an income on, now I'm going to tell you how old I am. You're not going to make much on Donkey Kong. That's an old man right there. Whatever it is today, whatever, you know what it is, just fill in the blank. That does not produce an income. And if you are wasting away your time playing games or watching YouTube or doing other things and not out actually doing something productive in society, then you are going to have an income problem. I told the guys in as loving way as I could, I said, I know why your self-esteem is so low, because you were created to get up and be productive and do something and provide for your family and bring home the bacon. I told his wife, I wish you could make biscuits like my mama. She said, I wish you could make dough like my daddy. He's not making any dough. He's not doing anything. Inactivity can be the problem. So I told this young man, I said, what you got to do is you've got to go to work. You've got to go out and get a job. And back in that day, it was harder to get a job than it is today. Let me tell you, there are employers everywhere that want to hire you. So if you're here today or you're watching online and you have an income problem, get a job. Go to work. Produce something. And when you produce something, you get to share in the increase. Amen. 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 I told this young man this, and you know what he did? He went out and got a job. And he began to support his family. And a year after that, I met with that family again. And guess what? He's working now. It's been 20 years ago, but he was working. He was providing for his family. His self-esteem went up, and that family was strong because he decided to get up and do something. Sometimes the solution to our problem, many times, is not to sit around and figure out who put us here. Not figuring out a reason to figure out who's responsible for my struggle. Oh, Lord, I'm going to just say some stuff today. You may not be responsible for all your problems, but you are a huge part of the solution to whatever you're going through. You. Not anybody else.